Okay, today's fare for dinner is going to be a ginger crusted pork tenderloin in a Dijon mustard sauce. We're gonna start off by getting some onions sautéed up in a saucepan. I've got my egg sitting at about 300 degrees, and we're just gonna go ahead and put on the saucepan. I'm gonna get got about a cup of onions. About a small onion finely chopped. We're going to stir in a little bit of all-purpose flour. We're going to add some chicken broth to our mixture and add our Dijon mustard and our maple sauce. And this will be the sauce that we can put on top of our tenderloin, which I'll be doing later on this afternoon. So we'll get started here. Okay, our onions are sautéing. They're getting nice and soft, starting to turn brown. I'm going to start to whisk in my flour. After I add the flour, I'll add the chicken broth, and then the maple syrup and the Dijon mustard. So I've added my flour. I've added my cup of chicken broth. I'm just about to add the maple syrup and the Dijon mustard. Finish it off with a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of fresh salt and pepper to season, and then that'll be the end of that glaze. Okay, while we're waiting for the sauce to boil, we're going to make up the ginger crust for the pork. So I've got 1 cup of crushed breadcrumbs. Store-bought breadcrumbs are a little bit too fine. It'll taste pretty gritty on your pork. We've got 1 tablespoon of ground ginger. We've got a ½ teaspoon of salt. We've got a ¼ teaspoon of freshly ground pepper. And we're just going to mix all these ingredients together in this bowl, and that'll be the crust for the tenderloin. Alright, so we're just going to wait for this sauce to come to a boil. The last thing I added was a tablespoon of soy sauce, and we're just going to do a little bit of salt and pepper, fresh ground pepper, fresh sea salt, just for seasoning. And that'll be the end of the sauce as soon as it comes to a boil. Okay, here's our 2 pork tenderloins. All I'm going to do is start by taking our Dijon mustard and our maple syrup. All been combined is about 3 tablespoons of each. And we're just going to brush that mixture on each one of the tenderloins all the way around. And we'll take our crust that we did, and we're going to roll each one of the tenderloins in that mixture. It's getting messy. Done. Take our mixture. Press it firmly into each one of the tenderloins so it gets good and stuck. There you have it. And our tenderloins, fully crusted in our ginger crust, and we'll get our egg temperature back down to about 350. We'll put those on for about an hour, maybe 45 minutes, until the internal temperature reaches about 160, and then they'll be ready to go. Cut. Okay, our sauce is done. I'm going to pull the sauce off off our egg here. I'm going to set the plate setter in, get it set for indirect heat, get my egg stabilized at about 350, and then we'll be ready to put the tenderloins on. Okay, so we've got our egg stabilized at about 350, 375. I'm just going to put our pork tenderloins on. And we'll check back on it in about 15-20 minutes, see how it's looking. Okay, we're about 20 minutes in. I just turned the tenderloins. They're looking pretty good. I'll give them a temperature check in about 15-20 minutes. Alright, these guys are done. Internal temperatures at 161, 162. It all looks good. And we're going to pull them off and slice them up. We've got ginger crusted pork tenderloin in a Maple-Dijon glaze. Bon appetit.